This is part 3 of the video reply for Awakened Soul 9999. Alright, so, literally, I go ahead and I'm telling this guy, who is supposed to be a therapist or whatever, that ultimately, in an attempt to go ahead and fight, self-harm tendencies, because it wasn't about the pain, it was about the adrenaline release that would end up being released, as far as the endorphins goes, and ultimately using adrenaline as a substitute to go ahead and release those endorphins rather than, self-mutilation. So it ends up being like, wait, so you plan on getting a motorcycle to as a substitute? Yeah. And before anybody even tries it, I'm going to let you go ahead and know. When I go to do that, not if, but when. Alright? I promise you that there's going to be somebody calling and making a false report that I'm going to have to press charges against, who are going to claim that me getting a motorcycle is a suicide attempt. That ultimately I was planning on going ahead and taking myself out because ultimately, unfortunately, it seems like the people who want to try to control my autonomy and my, free will all seem to be people who are afraid to fucking live a little. And, ultimately see that as being reckless and, with blatant disregard to my health and safety. When meantime, ultimately, for me, it's a statement of of not being afraid to live, Everybody dies sometime. Everybody dies in some way. Question is, do I want to end up dying by choking on a fucking croissant without, having something to drink within arm's reach? Or do I want to go ahead and, die with an adrenaline rush and a smile on my face? I mean, ultimately, just because the fact that they want to live their life, constantly worried and perpetuating in fear, doesn't mean that I have to. And yet, meantime, those same people go ahead and, claim that in some way or another that I'm living in fear. And it's like, no, y'all are oppressive as fuck. We just have a different idea of what a good time is, So ultimately, stop acting like you can determine what the fuck I can and can't do. I am a full-grown adult. And ultimately, I'm allowed to use my finances the way that I fucking want to. But you draining my finances, that you're going to have to face a consequence for.